Good morning, everyone. Little jiggle and a wiggle. Got a new phone. Hold on while I make just one slight adjustment. So close your eyes for a second. It's a little heavier than my other phone. So how's everyone doing? Let's see if I can straighten myself out just a little bit. Okay. So let's get started. What are we talking about today? We were talking about how to make our negatives into positives. How about that today? So we're twisting using the negatives and positives of our goodies, our crafting tools, if you will. So as always, videos are free. Thank you ever so much for shopping with me. Keeps me going. That's where you can shop. Today I'm talking about, and somebody let me know if you can hear me good. Like I said, it's a new phone, and I don't even know if my microphone is working. It's a new phone. I should have tested. There's a couple of microphones on there, and hopefully you guys can hear me and I'm not droning on and on. Give me just a sec for the computer to catch up. There we are. So we can get going and make a fabulous card. Okay, now I can see what you can see. Let's do that a little bit. Okay, so I am using Z7070 Holiday Banner. That's with the thin cuts. That's why these are blue, if anybody doesn't know, because those are the ones that have thin cuts. Okay, stick that up there. And there's a special coming out on the 1st. If you need Christmas cards and you're kind of late and behind, it will be some quick and easy Christmas cards for you. So check that out on my website on the 1st. And we will get started. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, I'm using black, I'm using pine, and I'm using candy apple today. I'm using my blending brushes and these 4 stamp bits. So I'll put them in order. All right. So the first thing I did was I took the thin cut for this holly leaf and the poinsettia, however you say it. And I punched it out, cut it out, whatever you want to say. And I put it on a really big base. That way when I blended, I wasn't going over the edge. If you only put it on this big, you're going to go over the edge, obviously. Okay? And then I have a 5.5 by 1. And I've already sponged it. I'm just going to put my paper down, hold it down with some low-tack tape, and you can see that I'm measuring it. Hopefully this is close enough. Let me bring it down just a smidge more. We'll go back up later. Just want to make sure everybody can get a view of what I'm doing, and I will try to stay above where you can see me, okay? I love my grid paper. If you need some, let me know. I can order it for you. Okay. So I'm just lining up where that is. Now I have to hold this. So I'm going to get my ink ready. And somebody told me, tap off on here, then you're saving your ink pretty much. All right, I can feel where the bump is of the edge of the piece of paper underneath, cardstock underneath, so I'm going to hold on to that. I always start light. You can always add more. And here's a tip too. Sometimes you'll tap on the tip and then you try and sponge with the middle. So kind of keep that in mind. That's kind of why I do it this way. And always remember to go back up. So that way you're not dragging your pad. You might be heavier handed here. And if you keep dragging here, you're going to make a little well in your you could, I'm not saying you would, but if you keep repeating only one process or you only stamp in one area, you know, it's bound to give a little bit. So that's why I kind of tend to go back and forth and then tap, tap, tap. Again, find my paper and sponge, okay? All right, now I'm not going to lift that because now what I want to do is take my black, and I'm like Memento, I know we don't carry it anymore, and I have to get right over the top, so hopefully you don't see my head. Oh, I'm nervous. Hold on. Let me take a breath. Yes, I am human. There we go. So now you can see that I just went along, covered that up, and stamped. So it's a little bit easier. You can see it because there's color around here and on there. And if you wanted to, you could even... Now, here's one thing. You could stamp this first and then put this over, but I like to sponge first because then my black image is crisping on top. But you could put that down first, turn it around, and then go back and sponge it. So whichever way works for you. There's no right or wrong. It's just what you try, okay? So there's the first step, all right? And I can't quite show you what the card looks like, but I am going to move on to the candy apple and the Merry Christmas. And I'm going to start with the bigger word. Again, I hope I don't get in the way of the camera. Let me sit down for this one. See if that helps. No, it doesn't help. Okay, standing up again. That's better. Whoa, my head just ran into the camera. Hopefully I didn't jiggle too much. So we'll put our Merry. Remember, I always have some scratch paper around so I can test what it's going to look like. Merry Christmas. So that's the first part. Just imagine that one's colored, okay? All right. So we have that little piece. Now we're going to move on. And I cut out the poinsettia out of an even bigger piece. So you see how big my images is. The bigger the image, the bigger the paper, so that way you don't go over the edge because nobody wants to mess up their stuff, right? So I've got that. I also did a trick for you. I put this as my top and I set my stamp image on there. Just pretend that this is the poinsettia and lined it up. And then I put a little sticky dot on the top of my block. So I know that that one goes with that one, okay? So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to take my mono adhesive and I'm going to put a teeny tiny bit right there. That is just going to hold, and you could have done it with the leaf one too. Now this, I have to figure out where this one goes. Not too bad. It's pretty quick. Okay. So I want to get this lined up in here. There we go. And it's stuck down. And then we're going to do some sponging again. Now this time I am going to start off again very light-handed and just make some circles in the middle, okay? And as the fibers get into the paper, they blend much easier. So always start with a very light, and especially if your color is darker, start light. You can always add more. You can't take it away. And if you get some funky line that you can't see because it's off camera, here we go. If you get some funky line, it takes a long time to blend it out, okay? So start light and blend around. Okay, now I don't have as much left, so I am going to put some color around the outside. Again, this is working it into the fibers, so the next layer, even though it doesn't look like anything is going down, but the next layer is now prepped to blend better, if you will. Easier. Don't know what else to say. So now I want to make these a little darker. Around and around we go. So we're just building some depth with this one color is what I'm doing. Again, light to start. As it blends out, then we go darker, or we go heavier. And it does get darker. Okay, so I know it doesn't look like much, but when you lift this up, you can tell there's a lot more color because you're seeing all this color, so it doesn't look like much. Okay, and that little sticky, you can just basically rub off with your fingers, and that doesn't matter on there. So we've prepped that, okay? And now I'm going to take, this is going to be on my card. Got to remember to stay on camera, and I'm going to stamp the poinsettia. Make sure I'm, ooh, I got a little heavy-handed on there. I'll make sure I put it to the top. And I'm gonna kind of, normally you'd put it in the middle, but I know what I'm doing with the card, so I want to come down a little bit. Stamp that, hold the paper, ta-da. Pretty pretty. Okay, so we have that. And now, for the sake of time, just imagine that I put this on here. I better show you. Okay, so let's get myself another little bit of adhesive, some holding element, if you don't mind. And then we're going to line this up. I'm only going to show you a couple of these. So now I am getting on the tip because I want to direct it somewhere. So this paper is held down. I need to hold on to this one, okay? And I just want to get some color on the tips of these, and it'll make more sense why in a minute. So that's all I did. And through the work of camera, here we are, it's done. Okay, oop, maybe move that around so it's not building and ripping your paper at the same spot. All right, so we've got that. Now we need to take this one that we did. Which one do I like better? I like this one. And again, we will find our center and we will ink this one up. I'm just drying off because I had left it on my wet towel. You want to make sure it's dry. If you don't, when you ink it up, it'll start bubbling and pulling. It won't be a flat image. It'll kind of look like it's not all solid inked. And that's because this was wet or something was wet. So ink that up good. Never takes, not a bad idea. Okay, find our little up. So it's not as bad. And I'm having to kind of go down with the camera, beside the camera, not hit the camera. Ta-da! Okay. So now we have, see how much, we have some lighter here, some darker here, and some darker edges. Here, let me hold that up for you. And that doesn't, here we go. So see, we've got some darker in the middle, some lighter, and then some darker. So you can use one ink pad and get various, and I could have went around this even more if I wanted, okay? So there's our next step. We're almost done. All right. So I think we can put that away. So next what I did, get all this out of the way. Next is, so I need this one and this one and a card base. And, oh, hold on, I didn't finish this one, so let me go back and finish this one because this is the one I need. All right, so again, we're just gonna find where that is, get some ink. Ugh, don't do that. But yes, you get inky stamping. I mean, you know, come on. We're having fun. A little ink on your fingers means you were creating. And I'm just building up more color at the base. There again, I'm kind of shading as I go, okay? All right, that's better. All right, now we have all of those. let's close this up. Always best to close it up and get it out of the way. All right, so we've got that. So this is a 1 by 5.5. This is a 1.5 by 5.5. So there's just a quarter reveal on each side. We've got this and this and our paper. Okay, so next we are going to take a gold shimmer brush. Always shake it up, and this one's almost empty, which is good and bad. I'm sad. So we're going to go in the middle of here, and I might need to push on it. And we are going to color, and this is very difficult to do. And then I'm going to take the edge of it. Hi, Lorraine, how are you? And I'm going to just put it on the edge of here. So the edge of the ink right there to the edge of my paper. And I'm just going to drag it across. Now you can go out to the tip, but be careful, if you fall off, you're going to get that, which I'm okay with, and I kind of want in the corners. So just drop it off the edge, wherever you want it to be a little thicker. And where you don't, you just drag it across. Okay? So, bear with me while I finish this last couple of edges. Take your time with this so you don't make a mess somewhere. Oh, and I should have done one more step before I did this, but that's okay. We'll make it work. So there's one more step before you do this. I always say put your glitters and your pretties on last, but I thought we were to that point. So I have one more thing to do. I'm going to give that just a second to dry. And I shouldn't have put that there. I should have put it here. So let's color this one in. Again, this is really getting dry. So we're going to push in the middle just one time to get it going again. Color that. Okay. Leave that to dry, that to dry. This we can put on while we're letting that dry since I messed up. All right. So here's another little tip. I like to put this onto a straight line. And I'm only going to put adhesive on the ends. And you'll see why in a minute. Make sure I'm in focus or on camera. So I know that there's a quarter here and a quarter here, which is one square. So I can line this up on my line, pull it over here, line it up on the line. Then I know I'm nice and straight. I made this just a smidge long. So I'm going to cut that off. Okay. Get rid of those. And we've got that ready to go. All right. So now we are going to take our white base and we are going to add some gold glitter. So I always have a spray box. Let me get this situated. And it's just one of our boxes that our stuff comes in. Make sure I'm on camera. Shake it up again really good. I like to use my bone folder, but you could use scissors. Open this up. And we are going to tap on some gold glitter. Harder you tap, the bigger the blob. Technical term, don't you know, blob that you get. And you want to pull it back because you could be like here and hitting here. So kind of judge what you're doing. Take a look at it. Don't just whack the heck out of it and say, why aren't I getting anything? If it's not going on here, it's going around here. And we don't need any towards the bottom. There we go. So we're going to do that. And, no, I didn't do, did I do that piece? Yes, I did, just a little. And I'm going to hit this with just a little. Again, probably shouldn't have done that yet. Wait, hold on. Hold that thought. I am human. Let's go back and finish this up first. Let's get rid of this. So what I forgot to do was put a couple of leaves on here. Yes, I know it seems kind of scary, but it's okay. It'll work out fine. So we're going to get our green. We're going to hold on to this, trying not to hold the edges where I have that lovely gold. And you really only need it in that white space. You don't really need too much on the red, so don't worry about that. Then I'm going to put another one here, a little bit further out. Again, keep your fingers out of it if you can. Holding on to both papers so it doesn't slide around on you. And I'm going to do one more. Looking pretty good. All right, one more. And I would vary the leaf colors to soft and dark. All right, so we got those on. Now we need the black component of the leaf. Where's the leaf? Leaf, ink, and we are going to, sorry if my head gets in the way, stamp those. That back on here. It's easier to do it before you move it, but you know. You figure that out after you're halfway done, right? I don't know about you, but that's what I do. Okay, one more. And there's a method to this madness, which will make sense here in just a second. I'm trying to hold on to both pieces at the same time. Okay, there we go. All right, hold on where you can. So, and it would be easier if you don't put the gold on until after we get this done, okay? All right, there we go. Good, good, good. Let's get this out of the way. I always like to close this up. All right, so it's got a little bit on it, but let's just put a touch more on this edge. And bone folder. Tap lighter, tap heavier. That's the look you're gonna get, okay? All right, now take these two pieces out of our pizza box, as we call them. I call it this spray box. And we're almost ready to assemble our card. All right, so we have our base. We have this piece. Now again, I'm only, make sure I'm on camera. Move this up a little bit. Make sure that you're only doing here and here, both edges, okay? I'm going to put this down on my grid, pick this up, and put this flat on here. Okay, so now we've got a pocket. Now I want to put this with some foam tape. And these are my shaker window foam and acetate, and you have lots of foam left over in the middle when you make a shaker card. So I just need one of these thick ones to put in the middle. And before I take that off, I want to find where which way I want this to go and where my center of it is. Looks like right about there. Ooh, I got lucky. Usually I'm going around and around. Anybody else do that? Round and around. Okay, so we're going to stick that down. And I'm not sure it was exactly right, but it was working. All right, so now what are we going to do? So now we are going to tuck this under and the poinsettia on top to where we want it. And I want to make sure that that comes forward so you can see, well, maybe you can't. You can see there's just a teeny tiny bit sticking out. Okay, so I want to take that corner and cut it off. Just plenty, okay? Now we're going to put some adhesive on here. We're going to tuck this back in, get our poinsettia leaves coming over the top. It's not as easy because you got sticky now. And whoop, maybe if I hold it, it'll be a little easier. Okay, there we go. So now I can find where that was. I don't want to cover up my words, and I want to make sure, and I'm not pushing it down hard. I want to make sure that I can get those two pieces on top, like so. What do you think? And here's the first one I did. And there you go. That is my techniques, using the negative to be a pretty positive. Now, the other thing you could have done is you could have went around the whole edge with it, you know, just sprinkle them kind of, let's see, I had one right here. The other day I was doing a scrapbook page and I did the same thing with a couple of leaves. And actually, here, I'll show you the page. So I did not come up with this launch page, but I did change it up a little bit by putting the leaves. And I'm just taking it out of the sheet protector so you don't have glare. This is, let's get rid of this. So this is the left page, and I just went around and sprinkled. And then this is actual stamped, you know, thin cut. And the right page, taking it out of the sheet protector. Oh. I had not put my mat on. Let's see if we can see this one. So this is my, because I probably won't use a 5x7 on here. I just want to give you an idea. Okay, good. You can see most of it. So again, I just sprinkled, and they're not even even. I could have lined these two pages up and just done one half and half, which might have been pretty cool, but they're going to be separated a little bit, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so that's what I did with this technique. And again, there are a couple that are lifted up and just cut out like you normally would, and then used as a stencil. So there's that. And it's not a which one do you like today. It's I hope that you will try this technique. And I'll hold this up a little bit so you can see it. It's got, hopefully you can see all that shine back there. I just love it. And you could go back and add a grouping of 3 glitter gems or clear baby sparkles. You could, oh, this is something else I did on this one. Let me show you. So it needed just a little bit more because it was white on white. So all I did, let's see if I can do this. Did I do it on this one? I just, yeah, I think I did it on that one. I can't tell anymore. Okay, well, we'll just do it on this one. I just ever so slightly went around and added just a smidge more on top of this. Do this very carefully, not in the air would help. And just made that a tiny bit darker. This just holds my hand steady to put your pinky down. Let me do it down here. Sorry if my hand's in the way. And that just gives us a little bit bigger line. And because you kind of did the in and out, it makes it a little more forgiving if you don't do it just right. See, I've got that big blob there, so that kind of messy look just ties in. And this just makes this a little more defined rather than adding another color behind here. We could have added a nice green behind there, but see how that just makes that pop a little bit. And you could have raised this up maybe just on these 2 corners. That would have gave you some more depth too. All right, so tell me if you liked it, and if you have anything that you'd like to see me do, please feel free to leave a comment. And if you're watching on YouTube or even Facebook, I would love a like and a share. And if you're on YouTube, if you would subscribe, that would be awesome. Thank you so much for watching, Lorraine. See you next time. Have a great weekend, everybody.